Hello, my name is Keshwani. That's K-E-S-H-W-A-N-I, Keshwani. I have been solving data sufficiency problems out of this book here, GMAT Review, the official guide, 12th edition. If you do not own this book already, purchase one immediately. You should be able to find it at mba.com. The same exact place that you would go to register to take the exam. Anyway, the problem that I'm about to solve is the one that you're going to find on page number 274, data sufficiency problem, hence the DS. Number 19. Let's take a look at it. Number 19. It says a sequence has 200 terms. And the question simply is, what is the 192nd term? Sequence has 200 terms. What is the 192nd term? Well, what is a sequence, first of all? A sequence, for those of you who might be rusty on this thing a little bit, is simply a series of numbers. It does not need to have a sequence of number, contrary to what most people might believe, just because they hear the word sequence. It does not need to have any rhythm or rhyme. For example, here I'm holding a book in my hand here, and I'm going to open a page at random. Oh, 341. 341. I'm going to open again. 67. I'm going to open one more time. 573. And so on and so forth. So on and so forth. And that's what I did yesterday for fun. Last evening, that's what I did for fun. And I came up with 200 numbers in a series. 200 terms. The question simply is, can you tell me what was the 192nd term that I found, 192nd number in my series? As you can clearly see here, this is just a random numbers that I'm generating by opening the page at random. It has no rhythm or rhyme to it. But it is a sequence. Can you tell me, question here is, can you tell me what is the 192nd number that I opened? Or what was the number that I opened on the 192nd try? That's the question here. Well, let's see. Let's see what they tell us. As of now, of course, not a hell of a lot. I mean, how can you tell what was the 192nd number I opened? We'll see what happens. Let's look at the first statement. What does it give you in the first statement? The first term is negative 40. The first term is negative 40. They like to, let's see if I actually, before I open my big mouth, it's a simple word, and yet, you see, it, as I always say, it does not hurt. Oh, never mind. The first term is negative 40. This is going to bother me. I just want to, I should know how to spell it because it's a simple word. Anyway, I'm not finding it, so I'm not going to say it. The first term is negative 40. In other words, if I were to tell you that the first page that I opened was 40 in the series, can you tell me what was the 192nd page that I opened? The answer is no. How the hell are you going to know what was the 192nd page that I opened based on the fact that the first page that I opened in my experiment was page number 40? There we go, page 40. That's not going to tell you what was the number that I opened on the 192nd try. Because first of all, as of now, as it stands right now in the story, we do not even know if there is any rhythm or rhyme to the series. Okay? Even if there were any rhythm or rhyme, if I told you that the first number was 40 and every number after that was a double of the first number, or I kept adding the constant number to it, that's a different story. But as it stands right now, there are two problems. Well, not two problems, rather one problem. Oh, just based on the fact that the first number is 40 or negative 40, doesn't matter. You are not going to be able to tell what was the 192nd term because you don't know if there is any rhythm or rhyme to that system. Well, there's the first problem. We do not know. Secondly, even if there is some rhythm or rhyme to this system of numbers, we do not know what that system is. We do not know what the pattern is. So, the first statement by itself is not enough. I forgot to do something that I should have done in the beginning. This is the data sufficiency problem. The very first thing that I should have done is to write down AD, BCE. AD, BCE. We just found out that the first statement does not work, which tells me that the answer cannot be A, nor can it be D. Let's look at second statement. Let's see what the second statement tells. Maybe second statement will be a little bit more helpful. Second statement tells me that each term after the first term is 3 less than the preceding term. Well, there you go. For example, if the first term is x, then the second term after that is going to be 3 less than that. It's going to be 3 minus x. Whatever this number was, it's going to be 3 less than that. The one after that is going to be 3 less than that. So if this is 3 minus x minus 3, this is going to be x minus 6, and x minus 9, and so on and so forth. Based on this, now you remember, you have to forget about what you just heard in the first statement, what you read in the first statement. You have to erase your memory. Based only on the second statement, if I tell you that I'm holding in my hand a bunch of numbers, a whole bunch of numbers, and I'm telling you that the first number in the series, but actually I'm not telling you what the first number in the series is. What I'm telling you is that after the first number, whatever the first number happens to be, after the first number, what I'm telling you, and I'm going to say it verbatim here, and for those of you who do not know what that means, look it up and learn it, verbatim. Verbatim, when you're spelling it, make sure you're careful, it's spelled with an I. It means word for word. I'm gonna read it verbatim. In other words, I'm not going to paraphrase it. I'm going to tell you exactly what they tell you, which is each term after the first term is 3 less than the preceding term. That's all I know. Each term after the first term is 3 less than the preceding term. Unless I know the very first term, I cannot figure out the second term. And if I cannot figure out the second term, I cannot figure out the third term. And so on and so forth. Based on the fact that each term after the first term is 3 less than the preceding term, is still not enough to answer what is the 192nd term. The second statement by itself is also not enough. That tells me that the answer also cannot be B. The answer would have to be either C or E. If you put them together, if you put the two statements together and find out that even that is not enough to answer the question, then the answer is going to be E, which is neither. Let's look at this together. For those of you who still do not know what this thing is in the corner here that you always see, go back and watch this video, data sufficiency intro, and you will know what I'm talking about there, okay? Let's put them together. Putting them together actually does get us someplace, because now we know that the first term is -4, or rather -40. So the second term, the term preceding it, is 3 less than that. This term here is 3 less than the preceding term. Preceding term is -40, so this term is going to be 3 less than that, -37, or rather 3 less, not 3 more. -43, -46, -49, so on and so forth. Now can you tell me what is going to be 192nd term? That's the question here. The question simply is, do you have sufficient data? Hence the data sufficiency. Do you have sufficient data to figure out, if you had to, which you do not. We do not have to figure out, they're not asking you what is the 192nd term. That is not what they're asking here. They're simply asking, would it be possible, based on the information that you have at your disposal, to answer the question, which is, what is the 192nd term? The answer is, yes, we do have sufficient data. It's just a matter of doing it out. It is very laborious, it's very tedious, it is very time consuming, and it is very labor intensive to actually do it out. So keep subtracting 3 until you get to 192nd term, but you will be able to figure out what that term is. That's one way of doing it. Another way to do is the more academic way, which is why as I always say in this exam, there are 2 ways of attacking this exam. There are 2 ways of taking this exam. One is what I call the classical way, the traditional way, the orthodox way, the geeky way, the nerdy way, the academic way, the algebraic way, the mathematical way, whatever you want to call it. If you knew that way, which you don't have to, if you knew that way, you would know, for those of you who know what I'm talking about, this is what is known as an arithmetic series. An arithmetic series is where each term after the first term increases or decreases by the same amount, by the same constant, and that is called an arithmetic term. And there is a formula that you would use. That formula will tell you whichever term that you're looking for. If I'm looking for 532nd term, I will use that formula, plug in 532nd for the n, and it will tell me what the 532nd term is in the series, or 192nd term in this case. But we do not need to know the formula. Don't freak out. There is no need. The exam does not assume that you have any knowledge of arithmetic series or geometric series or anything at all. Exam does not assume that you know any formulas at all as far as the arithmetic series is concerned. You do have to know some simple formulas, as Americans call it, or formulae, regarding geometry that you cannot get away from. Cannot get away from. You have to know the formulas for circles and triangles and basic stuff. But here, it does not assume that you know the formula for arithmetic series at all. So, if you did not know the formula, you would do it manually. The first term, second term, third term, fourth term, the fifth term is going to be 3 less than this one, which is going to be 52, negative 52, and then negative 55, and so on and so forth. As I said, it can be done. It is very labor intensive, very laborious, very tedious, very time consuming, but it can be done. Therefore, the second statement itself does not give us enough information, because second statement only told us that they go down by 3. But putting them together, this information here, negative 40, came from the first statement, right here. So putting the two statements together, first statement, second statement together, this is the first statement, this is the second statement, which tells us that it goes down by 3 each time. Putting them together, it is possible to figure out the 192nd term. Therefore, the answer here is C. The answer is C, which stands for both. You need the information from both the statement to answer the question. But it can be answered. And that's all. That's all. We don't actually have to do it out. We don't actually have to, as I said already more than once, you don't actually have to sit there and figure out what the 192nd term is. So even if I knew the formula, which I think I do, I'm not going to waste my time trying to actually figure it out, because there will be no bloody point in it. Do you understand? I hope you found it helpful. If you wish to get hold of me for personal private tutoring, I do face-to-face tutoring, obviously. I also tutor over the internet through Skype. It does work. People have tried it. And I tutor, of course, also over the telephone. As I said, try it out if you wish. It's session by session, so try out one session and see what you think. If you wish to get hold of me, go to my website at www.for4gmat.com and send me an email. Or you can go to www.keshwaniprep.com. Alright? Thank you.